Look, I know we've got a couple in our chat today, and I have to say, well done, lads. You're all taking it in good spirits. But honestly, if you're a United fan looking at this fiasco, you have to say to yourself, come on now. This lad needs to go. He is not going to sort it out. As a Liverpool fan, I hope he stays there a very long time. But most importantly, we want to talk about our weekend, right? Because it wasn't the greatest 90 minutes against Wolves, but we got the job done. Coupled with Newcastle taking points off Manchester City. Aston Villa drawn today with Ipswich as well, which pushes them a little bit away from us. We're starting to build up a little bit of momentum right now. Now, there is a long way to go. Our manager said it. Let's not get carried away too much, but it is fun. I'd rather be in this position. I do love that Jamie Carragher, by the way, has already started to wind up Gary Neville and post immediately after United were beaten Gary Neville's prediction for United finishing in the top four with Liverpool outside of it, which is already looking absolutely comical. I don't know how that man's predictions can be taken seriously anymore. Anybody with half a brain cell would have been able to tell him that, one, they weren't going to finish above us this year, and two, the nonsense about their midfield being better than ours is absolutely comical. And that was before I think they even brought in Ugarte, if I'm not mistaken. So the fun just keeps on building as a Liverpool fan right now. And I think that's going to follow up with a victory against Bologna on Wednesday. Dave said, was watching Adam on FUTV and they're not happy. I don't blame them. I don't blame any United fan right now for feeling a little bit fed up. Sometimes you almost start to feel bad. Like, we all have friends who are United fans, and sometimes I'm like, will I message them? Won't I? Yeah, no, I will. I definitely will. And I was messaging Ben all the way through the game as well, just reminding him that things were falling apart there. But you know what gets me? It's just that there are still some people that believe he'll turn it round. And I just don't know what they're basing that off, because United have been absolutely horrendous under Ten Hag. Yes, they've won 2 trophies, but you can't just ignore everything else. And don't worry, I'm going to make sure they don't forget it. Our friends at AFC Ajax have put up a lovely post reminding us about all the great defeats that Erik Ten Hag has had so far as United manager. So yeah, there you go. Let's just read out what Jamie Redknapp had to say, actually. Speaking after the game, Sky Sports pundit Jamie Redknapp said, "It gets to a point where you almost feel sorry for the manager at Manchester United. He looks completely out of his depth. He looks like he's struggling to motivate his team. Man United and Ten Hag are going backwards. You can't complain anymore. He's got the back four in place. He's got all the players at his disposal. There's no excuses. They're rock bottom right now. I don't see where they can go from here. They're as bad as I've ever seen the United side. It's embarrassing. A club of this stature should be producing performances like that." So I don't often agree with Jamie Redknapp, but I'm going to be in Jamie Redknapp's camp on this one and say, absolutely, they have gone backwards. And I've been saying this for 18 months now. I don't get the hype around Ten Hag. I've never gotten it, because he's never justified it to me since he's come to United. What have we got? Mark Fitchin, thank you, mate, for a super chat of the night. Said, Man United match tickets are now half price. This is due to most of the fans leaving at half time. Look, I know we're going to laugh at them and that's our job, but it is almost baffling that it doesn't seem to matter what they do, who they bring in, how much money they spend. I'm starting to wonder, is there a curse on United or something at this point? Because they are a long way away. Stevie boy, how are you, my friend? All the way over in Australia. He said, great morning here. The scum going down 3-0 to Spurs and Liverpool on top. Good weekend. It's a great weekend, mate, isn't it? It really is. We had a lot of stuff go our way this weekend. Arsenal got their 4-2 victory, so fair play to them. Villa dropped points, which helps us, of course, as well. Manchester City drew 1-1 at St James's Park against Newcastle. So Liverpool finished the weekend top of the Premier League with the best defence in the Premier League so far, which isn't getting spoken about, by the way, anywhere near enough. Look, I know Arsenal have a good defence. I'm not going to lie about that. They have a good defence. But our defence needs to start getting a bit of credit here as well. The goal we conceded against Wolves was comical and we could have easily kept that one out. But we've conceded 2 in 6 games in the Premier League. That's a good start for this defence. All sorts of everything said, I work in a Circle K in Dublin. I definitely made sure to bring up the match to any United fan. Couldn't help myself. You're doing the right thing, mate. I have no doubt that your friends and your bosses at Circle K would admire your banter. It's the right thing to do. And if they have any issues with it, send them my way, mate. And I'll defend you to the hilt. I couldn't help it. Look, there's just some days where the inner shithouse in me just takes over, and this was one of them. Today I was on a mission to wind up United fans. But you know what, United fans? I would take it as a mark of respect, because I don't ever wind up Man City fans, because they're all irrelevant. United fans were saying let us out at half time. Probably, yep, I like that one, well played. Uncle Craig staying awake at 1am to watch you absolutely rip United apart. Well, I don't want to let you down, mate. You know, you've stayed up till 1am. I feel it's on me to give you a little rundown. Shall we give you a little history of Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United? Here's just a few of Eric Ten Hag's results at Manchester United. Manchester United got beaten 7-0 by Liverpool, 3-0 by Liverpool, 6-3 by Manchester City, 3-0 by Manchester City, 3-0 by Spurs, 2-0 by Spurs, 4-0 by Brentford, 3-0 by Sevilla, 3-0 by Bournemouth, 3-0 by Newcastle, and 4-0 by Crystal Palace. How can any United fan have any faith in this clown? Genuinely, I don't understand it. I don't want him sacked. Why, you ask? Because we've been through this too many times. Certain players will be on their 4th or 5th manager if he goes. He will get sacked, but I'm sick of sacking managers. I totally understand where you're coming from, Shane. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, mate, earlier on. It feels like there is just something around Manchester United right now that it doesn't seem to matter what pieces they change or move around. Something just doesn't feel right. And, you know, you've brought in the director of football and you've brought in the structure in and around. The manager's been backed in the transfer market. He had most of those players. I think Luke Shaw, if I'm not mistaken, was probably the only realistic first choice one that wasn't there. And again, just ripped apart. You can talk about the red card, and I will. And for what it's worth, I didn't think it was a red card. You know, I'm going to be honest about that. I always tried to give United fans my honest view on these situations in their games. And I didn't think that was a red card. You could clearly see that Bruno Fernandes slipped. But what I will say is it was definitely at least a yellow, because he did flick out that foot of his. But it wasn't enough for a red card for me. And that, I think United can find themselves unlucky to be on the end of. At that point, though, let's be honest, Spurs were still very much on top, 1-0 up and looking like by far the better team. But you never know what way the game would have gone. And I think United actually responded okay down to 10 men. They at least had a go in the second half. But 3-0 is still 3-0, Shane, and it's got to hurt you guys. Did you see 10 Ballbag's interview after the game? I didn't, mate, no. For me, once he said, midweek I think it was, that patience is required, I just thought, dude, you're there 3 years. You spent 600 million quid. I think the time for patience is going. And even if you look at the win percentage as United managers who've been sacked, he's hovering right around that percentage now. I think he's either 54 or 56% win percentage as United manager. Mourinho got the boot at 58. He is in danger territory right now. The bad news for United fans is, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see Southgate eventually making his way to Old Trafford. I mean, I hope it happens. I really do. If Ten Hag was given the proper players he wanted, then we wouldn't be where we are. Are you honestly, is that a serious comment? Because I'm taking it at face value, mate. I'm taking it that you're not winding me up. But he was given the players he wanted. He has pissed 600 million quid up against the wall. He had his full selection of players out there today. Everyone that he brought in, everyone that he wanted, out there today playing. And they were terrible. Again. But look, I'm more than happy for you to continue to back Ten Hag, mate, because as an opposition fan watching on, I hope it continues forever, because he's never gonna get you where you want to be. He's just not that good of a manager. He just isn't. I don't care what he did at Ajax. What he's doing at United, it's very clear. He's nowhere near the level required to take United on to the next level. Ten Hag wanted to sign these players. Exactly. He wanted De Ligt, got him. Ironically, the best player he could have brought in from Ajax, we ended up with in Gravenberch after he went to Bayern. Just look at the players he's brought in and tell me any of them. Maybe Lisandro Martinez. That's probably the only one I would think maybe improved United a little bit. But even at that, his nickname's The Butcher, and he's going around acting more like a petulant little bitch these days. And I think he's been lucky not to get even more red cards. I'm not winding you up, right? If you remember from Oli and Jose, they wanted world-class players, but our recruitment at the time wouldn't allow it. So, really, I know... Oh, God, I find this difficult, Laser Snipes, because The one thing I don't think United fans have any right to complain about is a lack of transfer funds. Because I tell you what, as a Liverpool fan, mate, I would love my manager to have had 600 million quid over the last 3 seasons to spend. We made a profit in this summer's transfer window. Let that sit, mate. We made a profit in a window where we were looking to bring in a centre-back and a midfielder and got neither. Your manager was back to the hilt. Back to the hilt with expensive players. So, I mean, I think you're just grasping at straws there, to be honest, mate. He's been well and truly backed. And I don't think, for all the crap the Glazers have brought to United, and it is a lot of crap, I don't think anybody can say that the managers haven't been backed with transfer funds. They've just pissed it up against the wall.